What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, we are here to talk about Bachelor in Paradise episode 8, and we're coming down to the end of the season here. A little late doing the recap for this one, was down sick last week, but still took notes for the episode. Wanted to come on and give our recap for this episode, but obviously now at this point, you'll be seeing this more than likely Monday morning, so show day for episode 9 of Bachelor in Paradise, but better late than never. Still wanted to jump on and talk about episode 8. Obviously, as this is one of the last episodes of the season, but last week was obviously the big Bailey, Jeremy, Brian blowout that led to Brian and Parisa getting a rose and staying. But more drama is on deck for this one for sure. But before we do jump in, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Bachelor in Paradise content on the channel. Obviously, as I said, episode 9 tonight, Monday night. So we'll have a recap up tomorrow morning, and then with the finale coming next week. I believe it should be. There's only 10 episodes this season, so season finale should be next week. We will be here to talk about that as well. But just make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a video. Now, we're here at day 15 of Paradise. Keith and Kathy talking about all the couples and who will make it work outside of here. Leia and Jonathan also on the line of, or on the same page, I guess, should I say, of trying to convince people to not get rid of the easy targets, get rid of the threats, the strong couples, per se. Hannah is here and calls in Jesse for the next relationship test, and it's a treasure hunt with one goes hunting and the other couple is buried alive, in a chest per se. You have to relay directions to your partner over a walkie-talkie. Not fantastic walkie-talkies either, from seeing the challenge go through, but the couple that finishes the fastest is the winner, gets an exclusive date, and the woman who finishes the fastest in that group gets the first rose to hand out. Therefore, her and her partner is safe. But this week they're voting as a group, which 2 women won't receive a rose to hand out at the rose ceremony. Alex and Andrew and Parisa and Brian are first up. Neither of the couples finish. Dale and Kat, Keith and Kathy, they don't get it either. Jonathan and Leia and Sean and Alea. Sean and Alea get it. Bailey and Jeremy and Jess and Spencer are next up. Spencer and Jess get it, and so do Bailey and Jeremy. But Spencer and Jess got it the fastest, so they have a date tomorrow, and Jess hands out the first rose at the rose ceremony. Kathy is pitching that she wants to stay to support as a mom, but she's not campaigning. Totally not campaigning, she says. Jeremy's birthday. They get a cake, celebrate, grateful for everyone, even you, Brian. Jeremy says, obviously after their blow up last week, should I say. Jonathan and Leia have an open conversation about wanting to find their person, but realizing that they still have a fighting chance to win the $500,000. So that is where their mindset is currently. Day 16 of Paradise, Spencer and Jess head off on their first date. Sean and Alea discussing strategic moves of who to get out. Bailey and Jeremy looking to keep people who are in it for love and not just in it for money. Try not to lose the plot, essentially. Sean keeps bringing up his dad having a political background, and a lot of stuff is making sense now here with Sean and the strategy here. But Brian and Parisa, Kathy and Keith, and Jonathan and Leia are the names that everyone is seeming on bringing up of names possibly going home. Brian is hot under the collar because he hears Sean spreading their name around. Brian pulls Sean and asks what his strategy is, and the group is like, why is Sean being so out there and upfront with all this strategy and whatnot, all this stuff? Sean's like a politician going around lying to everyone essentially, and Kat is heated when Sean says they'll be next in terms of her and Dale. Kathy and Keith disagree on Keith wanting the strongest couples to stay, and Kathy is thinking the opposite of wanting the people who play the game the best to win. Again, losing the plot here of the show. And, that's the worry about bringing this $500,000 prize into the game. But, I don't know. Just don't want to lose the plot of the show here. Alea now also wants Sean to chill out with the politicking. And Spencer and Jess' first date, finally, after they've been together since day one, about time they finally got a date, doing some type of couples yoga, tantric yoga, I believe they called it. And back at the resort, Sean is trying to put together the Parliament of Paradise to keep Sean, Jeremy, Andrew, Dale, and their significant others safe. No one's really interested. Back on Jess and Spencer's date, they have a nice picnic with charcuterie in the pool, and, they agree they already got what they came here for, and the money would just be a nice jumpstart to their future, and, start talking about, possibilities of moving and, crossing that bridge when they get there, but they both say that they're falling in love with each other. And back at Sean's Parliament of Paradise meeting that he called outside, Everyone comes except for Andrew, who took a little nap, and Dale calls this the worst political campaign ever. Andrew tells Spencer Sean wants to cut him, and that does not go over well, obviously. But we now head to the cocktail party, and Sean and Spencer talk, and he missed the part of Andrew being roommates with Spencer, so obviously everything was going to get back to him, and that was definitely kind of an oversight on this Parliament of Paradise here for Sean. And he wanted to talk to Spencer first before he heard it, essentially, but obviously that did not happen. Spencer's like, I feel like he thinks he's smarter than he is. Definitely get that vibe too, as most politicians do. But Brian's goal for the night is trying to move the votes off him and Parisa. He talks to Jeremy to try to clear the air. Jeremy feels that he's just trying to save himself, which obviously he is. But overall, Jeremy appreciates it, and Brian says that he wants to, be good outside of here. Alea says that Bailey and Alex made her feel like she's questioning their friendship, and her and Sean go talk, and she's upset with him not listening to her earlier about not wanting to talk too much strategy. Kat gives Dale a note asking him to be her boyfriend, and they make it official, finally, about time now. But now Leia pulls all the girls to have a girl chat, and, well, Bailey, Parisa, and Alex, should I say, not all of the girls, upset that hearing hers and Sean's name, they said it's nothing to do with her, but worried about how, basically what Sean has been doing, running around, throwing people's names out there and, politicking, everything. Sean pulls Kat after hearing she was talking behind his back, and Sean says that he's done nothing but support her and to stand behind her which technically he has, but that doesn't excuse everything else that has been going on in this episode especially. But Kat walks away when Sean starts cursing and she feels disrespected. Now he says that, she's everything you see on these shows. Obviously, Kat has got a bad rap on, her season that she was on of The Bachelor in Paradise last time she was out here. And, Sean kind of stood by her, and now he's kind of done a complete 180 on this. And Spencer tells Sean, like, maybe you should just chill. You're doing too much for everyone here. And Dale tells Sean, like, you're out. If she's coming at me, like, with these feelings, feeling this way after your conversation, you're out. You're done. That's it. But it is time to vote, and the tablet makes its way around to vote. And does the group go with the platonic couples? Getting those platonic couples out who don't have a real romantic relationship, or do they get the drama out of the house? We head to the rose ceremony. Jess and Spencer obviously get a rose. Alex and Andrew, Bailey and Jeremy, Kat and Dale. Then here comes the first of the surprises. Kathy and Keith do get a rose. And then before Jesse hands out the last rose, Alea asks to interrupt. She says her and Sean came in to find love and don't like that their character is being questioned and want to leave together and continue their relationship back in Tampa. Everyone kind of confused. Seems like they, made it seem like it didn't vote for them, but Jesse said afterwards, like, no, they were the ones that were going to be going home too, so they essentially just took a 5-minute early out. And everyone was kind of confused, and because they said, Sean says to Dale, I love you, but Kat, don't call me crying when this one ends too. So much for leaving with integrity, as they says, and as I mentioned, Jesse said they were going home anyway, but everyone has a good laugh of like, what was the point of that? Leia and Jonathan get the last rose, so Brian and Parisa are going home, as well as Sean and Leia, who obviously took their 5-minute early out. But seems like they'll try to continue their relationship outside of here. Curious to see, at the end of this, if they are still together. No idea, but we'll see. Wish them the best. Next week, challenging relationship test and voting out which man to vote out or to not get a rose. So essentially to vote out. Jess says that she doesn't know if they're on the same page with moving in, assuming it seems like with her and Spencer. I don't know. She did that. Going back to the date in this episode, they did say that, they'd cross that bridge when they get there in terms of moving. So, could that be something, or could that just be editing? I don't know. But Keith says, I need to go home as well. And we know how he's felt, that he's wanted these strong, like, relationship couples to stay in. And obviously him and Kathy are not. They have a friendship, in their words. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. But obviously, yeah, we're heading down to episode 9 now. Coming up, this week now, obviously with the delayed recap of this episode 8, but we're coming down to the end here, so very curious to see how this ends up. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.